All right, good little convo started, man. I like that. Now let's broaden the spectrum a little bit. Let's talk about as a whole Eastern Conference versus Western Conference. East versus West. I remember the old Tupac and Biggie, man. I know that ended real bad, but East Coast versus West Coast. Who's better? Which conference is better? Again, we're thinking playoff run. Which conference is better? BG, we began with you last time, so Zay, I'm going to shoot it to you, man. Which conference do you have as a better conference when you're thinking 2022 playoff run? The Eastern Conference or the Western Conference? Who you going with?
I'm definitely going to stay out west with it. Eastern Conference, they have teams that are there but not quite there at the same time. While in the Western Conference, you look at the bulk of teams. I mean, obviously you have the Suns, and then you have the Mavs, who are a consistent team. You also have the Jazz, who are always in contention for a conference championship. But then you got teams like the Western Conference is very capable of having a 7 or 8 seed that can click it all together at the right time. I mean, you look at the Clippers, you look at the Lakers, those teams, although they're hurting, they still have the potential to make some noise if allowed, or if they get their stuff together. And even teams like Denver is there. There is no 8 or 6 through 8 seed that's gonna be a walk in the park. I doubt we'll see a sweep in the Western Conference. That is why.
Sorry about that.
The champion's gonna come from the Western Conference.
Okay, so you going with West, Zay, BG? Who you rolling with, man? Who you like? Eastern Conference versus Western Conference? Who's the tougher?
Well, so I mean, when you're talking about legitimate contenders, like I said in the previous segment, in the East, I think the Heat, the 76ers, the Bucks, the Nets, potentially the Bulls have a shot at getting to the finals and winning it. I mean, if you get there, you have a shot to win it. But in the West, I think it's really only the Suns, the Warriors, the Grizzlies are a maybe for me still. I don't know if they can win a 7-game series against the Suns or the Warriors, and a healthy Lakers, and that's it in the West. I think if you talk top to bottom in the conference, and that's more of the route that I took, look at the 10 seeds. The Hawks are the 10 seeds in the East, and the Pelicans are the 10 seed in the West. I'm taking the Hawks over the Pelicans. Easy. So top to bottom, and then if you want to look at players in the East, you got Embiid, Giannis, Kyrie, KD, Harden, Tatum, Garland, DeRozan, Trae Young, LaMelo Ball. The West, you got Booker, Chris Paul, Curry, Clay, Ja, Luka, Jokic, LeBron, AD, who's not healthy. I was going to go with the West, but I'm going to go with the East. I would go with the West if they had a healthy Zion, a healthy Kawhi, a healthy Paul George, and a healthy Anthony Davis. I think the West, no questions, better than the East. But this season alone, I got to go with the East.
Yeah. You got to go with what's happening currently. The West, to me, is very top heavy. Okay, the West has the best teams when they're clicking on all cylinders. You're talking about the Suns and Golden State, and I would even begin to put in Memphis into that group, and we can talk about Memphis in the next topic. But they're top heavy in the West. Out East, similar to the conversation we had about the Suns and the Heat, the East, anyone can win it. So it's a lot more parity in the Eastern Conference than it is in the West, because the West, again, is very top heavy. I would be very surprised if the Suns or Golden State do not face each other in the Western Conference Finals. Like, very surprised. And if it's not them, it's going to be the Memphis Grizzlies or the Nuggets. That's it. Barring AD coming back and having a miraculous run, I do not see the Lakers doing it. I don't even know if the Lakers are going to make the actual playoffs. They'll make the play-ins, but I don't know if they'll make the actual playoffs. Other than that, you got Clippers, you got all these teams in the West that good teams for the regular season. But are you talking about actually winning something? I don't see it happening. You got Dallas, you got the Jazz. Jazz, it's all about what they do in the playoffs. They are a great regular season team. They've been that way for a long time. But other than that, what have they done in the playoffs? Mavericks, Luka is going to get you a series 1. Other than that, second round, I don't know if he's going to get past that. But are you talking about the Eastern Conference? The Heat, 76ers, Bucks, the Bulls, the Celtics. Okay, then you got Cavs and you got Nets and Raptors. Like, that is a lot of teams outside of the Cavs in that group and probably the Raptors. Out of the top 8 seeds right now in the East, I have 6 of them that I could easily see them winning the Eastern Conference, if not just simply playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I'm agreeing with you, BG. I don't, Zay, did you go with the Eastern Conference or the West?
Yeah,
You went with the West. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense, man. Yeah, I just have to go with the fact that playoff run, I like variety, and I like the fact that I can count on 6 teams potentially representing in the Eastern Conference Final and being able to potentially play in the actual NBA Finals, as opposed to, again, 2 strong teams in the West, and then you maybe have 2 other teams. So 4 of the top teams in the West, I can actually see, making the finals. I could see 6 in the East. So I got to go with the sheer numbers of that, the mathematical probability of that. So I got to go with the Eastern Conference there.